One. Well, thanks again, viewers, for joining us for another edition of Tails and Tackle Vancouver Island, brought to you by Black Label Craft Jerky. It's damn good jerky. You should get yourself some. Today, I am joined by Catherine Pleasance and Chad Keogh. Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
Excellent. They are the most recent winners of the latest WFL event held here on Shawnigan Lake this last weekend. They put in an absolutely dominant performance, pulling in a 91-inch bag, dominating the competition, and actually they kind of came through at the end with a really solid 20-inch fish from Chad toward the end of the day, from what I understand, which put them over the second place finishers by about half an inch, I think it was. So pretty darn good day overall. And I'm going to talk to them about what worked for them today. Welcome here, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, you know, Shawnigan Lake, it's a big lake. There's a lot of stuff going on in this lake. How did you prepare for the day?
I think we both fish here quite a bit, so I think we know it. I fish it probably a little more than Catherine, but and I've got tournament experience on here from the past, so I think we fished together a bit before it, so we kind of knew what of the things we enjoy doing, what worked and what didn't work. So that's what we basically did going into the tournament. Catherine had a bait she preferred that was slow. I had a bait I preferred that was fast. So it kind of worked out.
Punch.
We're not fishing for the same fish, basically.
That's excellent.
Tag team.
Tag team.
That's right.
Excellent. So whose boat were you in? Were you in Catherine's?
Catherine's.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spent a fair bit of time in that boat. Nice
Good
rig.
thing we talked about it beforehand. 'Cause
Yes.
I
We would have
assumed
showed up
Chad
with
was
no
bringing
boats.
his boat, and he assumed I was. And last
Yeah.
minute, I said something, and he's like, "Well, you're bringing your boat, are you?" I was like, "Good thing we said that."
We
Yeah.
both show up to the
With no
dock,
boat.
With no
rods in hand,
Yeah.
no boat.
Yeah.
That would be a very late start to the day.
Yeah,
That's
not
right. I
right.
would have had to run home and get my boat.
That's awesome. So did you run into anybody else on the water, like from the event, or were you kind
Quite
of
a few
fishing by
people.
yourself?
Yeah, we stopped and chatted and see how
Oh,
people were
excellent.
doing and said hi.
Everybody
and-
was mostly struggling by the sounds of it.
A lot of smalls, I heard. A lot of
Yeah.
fish,
A lot
but
of
a
fish,
lot
but
of
small.
16 and junior.
a lot of 10s, a lot
Yeah.
of 12s. Like,
Yeah.
we caught a lot of fish through
We
the
did.
day, but yeah,
Totally.
it kept us busy and entertained, but it was a
Yeah.
constant flow of small to weed out
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
the big ones. Yeah.
So, when you're catching a lot of fish and a lot of them are small, it's exciting. There's a lot of fish.
Mhm.
But at some point, you got to be asking yourself, okay, how are we doing?
Mhm.
Like, this is a competition at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what were your thought processes as you progressed throughout the day and you kept getting all these littles?
Well, at first, like our first stop, I caught one, how many inches? The first one in the first 10 minutes on the point there?
Yeah, good 16.
Yeah, I caught a
think,
16 incher bang. I think it was like third cast or something
Oh,
on a
nice.
top water. So I thought we were off to a good start. And then shortly after that, you caught that one off of the other hump. How much, was that a 17 or?
16, 17, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're getting some
Yeah,
so
decent
we-
size out the gate.
Yeah, like our first two were pretty good overall, right?
Yeah.
And then as we fished, we caught a mix, little one, big one, little one, big one, but not big, until we went to the south end. Then we caught, you caught a nice one, over 20 incher. And then we came north because we were struggling with the wind. The wind was a bit of a jerk that day. So we're struggling with the wind. So we thought, where can we hide out of the wind? So we went to this one spot hiding out of the wind, and then bang, I got that 20 incher on the spinnerbait.
Oh, that's
And then we
spectacular.
kept just going that way down the island, and I got another one on that was as big or bigger than that one, but it pulled off on the dock.
I'll bet it was that elusive 24-incher that we keep
Probably,
hearing
Yeah.
about.
probably.
Of course.
But no one's ever caught it.
The winning fish.
It's always at the
Yeah.
side of the boat. It's a smart fish.
Yeah, so we would have caught even more if I had managed to land that one. We would have won by like probably 5 inches.
But the
or
wind
4
was
inches.
just taking.
It was just howling.
Just flying past the
Yeah.
dock we were working, and it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Which way was the wind coming from?
North.
From the north.
Because we
Every
were drifting
direction.
south.
Oh,
Yeah.
if it's from the
From
north.
the right.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's coming from the north, it's just a wind tunnel,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
really not a lot of hiding.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
can we use rights and lefts?
Yeah.
Like, I
Catherine
don't,
didn't like
I
my
don't
north,
do
south,
north
east,
and
west
south.
stuff.
Yeah, point, please, left and right.
She'd be like, where should we head? And I said, let's head south. Or west. No.
No,
Right,
no.
we'll go right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have some of the starboard port getting in through some of our saltwater fishing,
Yeah.
but That's right. All right, so let's talk a bit more about specific about the day. So you mentioned spinnerbait, and I think it's no secret to anybody that spends time on Facebook that Chad likes to throw a spinnerbait.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I mean, it's a pretty common lure, but you go to it a lot.
Yeah, well, it works. It covers a lot of water, gets active fish, usually gets bigger fish. Usually, not always, but usually the bigger ones will hit it.
Yeah.
And I've just always enjoyed throwing the spinnerbait.
So when you're throwing baits, both of you, what's kind of do you have a progression? You're trying different things out because it's not one bait all day long. I think you mentioned top water. You mentioned earlier on in our interview, and then
Well, that was just like the
spinnerbait.
first hour, maybe.
Okay.
I
Like,
use 2 baits all day long.
Really?
Yeah.
and if you count my top water, 2 baits, a
Yeah.
top water and a spinnerbait.
If
Oh,
it's
interesting.
working, don't change it.
And what were
Yeah.
you? Top water spinnerbait and yourself?
I was mostly drop shot and weightless,
Weightless things.
weed lifts. Yeah. Just,
Excellent.
Yeah.
So the combination of those.
Yeah.
Did you? Was there a time of the day where it was more fish in the boat than not, or was it pretty consistent?
We caught
throughout?
fish all day long.
Yeah, it was all day for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constant. Yeah. There wasn't any dry
The bigger
spells.
ones were later, but was that because that we targeted those spots later? You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So
Okay. So throughout the day, you're changing spots. In the season that we're in now, so we're in mid-June right now. The bass are all off beds from what I gather. I don't think there's any spawning going on.
there's a couple.
Is there still seeing some on beds? Okay, so not quite done yet.
Yeah.
What are you doing? How do you approach a lake like Shawnigan Lake? Post spawn, early summer.
I don't think they strayed
Spinnerbait.
too far from where they spawn, so
Yeah.
I think we were
Yeah.
still generally staying in the same vicinity, just not directly on beds.
It's not
That's
direct
right. And when you
beds.
think about it, both our big fish came from under docks.
There you go.
So I mean, they obviously didn't go very far at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mine was near the base of the dock, which you'd think would probably be a bedding type thing.
Right.
And I think yours is on the outside edge, though,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. So that was probably a post spawner. Maybe they're already in summer mode and they just went back under the dock because they knew it was a good place to ambush stuff.
Still
Was it-
lots of fry under the
Still
dock.
lots of
so
fry.
There's some still hanging out.
Was it a sunny day or was it cloudy,
Nope.
overcast?
No, it was, well, at the end.
We had a
But
little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a mixed bag.
Oh,
in
very
the morning it was cloudy and cold. You were dressed in your parka.
Yes, my snowsuit.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, it does get chilly here during all parts of
Yeah,
the year in
yeah.
the morning
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Well, that's cool. So we've got another event coming up this coming weekend. We got the Small Craft, and that's on Quesnel, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's on-
Catherine said she couldn't make it, so I'll have to fill in again.
Are you going to be an alternate for Catherine in a solo event? So you just take the big motor off the boat and just run the electric all day, right?
Quesnel's a big motor lake.
But it's not a big motor event.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, Small Craft.
Yeah,
so,
I'll be there.
So, you're thinking forward to Quesnel then, Catherine. What are you thinking the lake's going to be doing?
Same as here, I think.
Same
yeah,
as here?
Same everywhere. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna do the same strategy and fish the same and
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, you're very consistent. You've come through in the last few years as one of the more dominant fishers in this league. Probably because you're hanging out with really cool people too.
course.
Probably.
Myself,
Probably.
Dave, Chad,
Yeah.
and a few others and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But no, it's been really good to see all the fish you've been bringing in and stuff like that. And Chad, it's good to see you out for the WFL event. I think it's your first, right?
No, because I fished a couple with Chris as
Okay.
Matt's substitute,
That's
but we
Matt's,
didn't
right.
do as good. And it's just one of those things, because I think both times it was on elk.
Tough lake.
Tough when it's not winter.
Yeah.
Elk is my winter lake, and I'd probably kick everybody's butt on elk in winter, but
Mhm.
it wasn't
we
that
fished
time.
we fished there all winter together.
We did,
Yeah, we fished a lot. We fished right through the year this
Yeah,
year.
every
Other than
month.
February. The snow stopped me in February, but other
But I
than
kept
that, we
going.
fished right through.
You know, both my personal best largemouth and smallmouth came from elk. I mean, it's a much funner lake for on Shawnigan, but there's some big fish
Yeah,
There are.
yeah.
in elk.
Yeah, when you're
absolutely.
catching, it's fun. When you're not, it sucks.
Yeah, and you can't even go swimming on that lake most times
No, it's
either. You got to
gross.
wash
No.
your hands after fishing for the
Yeah.
day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd say elk, beaver has the biggest bass on the island, but the biggest bass in BC are in Osoyoos.
Osoyoos. You were out there. I think you were fishing there. Was it when you're bringing this rig back, or did you head up there otherwise?
Oh, well, this year I already owned this since last summer.
Right.
But I took a week off in May. I went out to Osoyoos to try and catch a little bit of the spawn, and it was crazy, like crazy good.
Yeah.
Like Osoyoos is one of those lakes where you kind of have to know somebody that knows it if you want to be put on like the spots.
Yeah.
But once you know them, they pay off all
that's
the time.
spectacular.
Yeah, and it's I've talked to salmon guys on that lake because they go there and hammer it with their downriggers and stuff,
All right.
and they'll show me pictures of 7-8 pound smallmouth that they caught out in the middle of the lake
On
in this-
downrigger.
on downrigger.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
like another version of a forward-facing sonar.
That's right.
The suspended fish. I'm convinced that a 10-pounder is going to be caught on elk by someone spotlighting with the
Well,
forward-facing.
there's already been tents, largemouth.
When? Not recently.
It was in the Island Outfitters event a few years ago.
Okay.
Like maybe 6-8 years ago.
Okay. So
Yeah.
a few years
Well, you'd
ago.
have to ask somebody that was in that event.
Yeah.
I haven't fished that event since Steve Johansson and I won it in 2008.
Okay.
But
I don't think they've been running that event for a lot of years.
no, well, as soon as COVID hit, I think they stopped.
Yeah.
And they were getting grief from fisheries before that, because fisheries were like, you shouldn't transport fish, because you'd have
Yep.
to take it to the weighboat.
Yeah.
And from what I understood, Island Outfitters said, well, if you want to come out and ticket everybody who's out trying to have a fun time, I'm sure City
Fill your
TV
boots.
or whatever will come down and talk about it. And then, of course, they never did. So,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they were feeling pressure there, and then after COVID, it just kind of fell away.
COVID was a big change.
Plus, they moved, right? They had that big store on Douglas, and
Which
now they've
burnt.
got the smaller store on Souk Road, I guess, or Juan de Fuca
Yeah,
Road,
and-
whatever they call it there.
Yeah, and View Royal there. Yeah, shout out to Island Outfitters. Those guys, the guys treat us well.
Yeah.
For the most
They
part,
have
so
a
it's
very
awesome.
good selection.
Good selection, good people in there, very knowledgeable. Well, I think we're at time, guys. Thanks very much
You're
for
welcome.
joining me
Thanks
today.
for having us on.
My pleasure.
Thank
I really enjoy these because I get to meet some pretty cool people out on the water, and we get to talk about some pretty cool stuff, at least
sure.
from my perspective.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you guys out on the water.
Thank
You will. Thanks, Eric.
Awesome.